So what's cracking, everybody? I'm Growmaster, and I said in the other video I was going to do a patch note rundown real quick, and here it is. So, there is so flippin' many things that they added to this patch. First off, the turret thing happened. So there is that the turret change of 100 turrets, and I mean, so if you are on the servers with the turrets, you definitely want to pay attention to that. Okay, so there's the Procoptodon. There is the model change. I went through all these on the other patch, so I am going to skip these. If you want to see that, it is on the other patch notes. I'll leave a little thing up at the top right-hand corner. Actually, a side-by-side of the models themselves, because I took one video before the patch came out, and then I took one afterwards, because I wanted to try to get a side-by-side. Okay, so as far as, we're going to scroll down to this one. Creature-specific bug fixes and balance. So there is so much stuff in here. Biggest one I see right off the bat. Fixed a bug, which caused the rock drakes and wyvern eggs to sink below their nests over time. That was some crap. I don't know how many people experienced that rock drake thing, but we had that all the time. They also added rock golem saddles, scorched earth loot table. They added basilisk and the crab saddles to aberration loot table. For some reason, I have a kraken nose. I have a hard time saying weird ass names. Uploaded creature stats now show in your upload. So you see the stats now when it's uploaded. Certain creatures would get stuck under the map, and inside the map, that happened to my rock drake before, and it says most notably on the rock drake and basilisk. So they fixed that, so that's awesome, because that was terrifying every time it happened. I never actually lost one. I've heard people did, but I mean, that would be terrible. Fixed an issue which caused the desync of the Reaper collision. I don't know exactly what that means. You no longer need pheromones to claim a Reaper. That's cool. There's the Machops thing, which isn't that big a deal. Fix a bug when some creature would not attack low frame per second, which that to me is a big deal. You can see all these different things that they did to the Bronto, Paraceratherium, Paracer, squids. Oh, they reduced the squid's base HP by 20% and the HP gain. That makes me a little sad because I really liked having a ton of health in those guys. The Stegos are now a little bit more resistant. Tech saddles no longer inflict raid damage, which is Toper and all that stuff, how you knock out the crabs. And the Titan. Oh yeah, because I guess you shoot it in the head. I've just never knocked out a Titan before. Skittish stance added to a tame dino. Fixed a case where the Pelagornis, I assume, would use more weapons than just the fishing rod. Fixed fishing rod no longer working on the Pelagornis. See, this is Pela. I assume that's Pelagornis because you could use that stuff on there. Tamed and wild crabs no longer get stuck in floating state by medium, big-sized dinos. Again, another one that is there's so many changes in this that they've needed, and but it's here. And so now no longer can they move when they're encumbered, which I know a few people that did that. They just fill up and then they'd hop around to get back to their base. Gigantopithecus can now use their teleporter, which I didn't even know was the thing. I've never really used the teleporter. Pegomastixes no longer steal artifacts. That, to me, again, a big freaking deal. I didn't know they could, and that's messed up that they could. The fixed an issue where the rock drakes would glide indefinitely. I actually experienced that a couple times. That was kind of funny. Just like, this is nuts. I'm just not landing ever. Fortitude now provides some resistance versus the effects of the Rex Roar, because now it makes you poop lock. And you poop stunned if it roars at you. But if your resistance is high enough on Fortitude, then even on ridden dinosaurs, it will prevent them from getting poop stunned. Increase the amount of food from the cakes to the snails, which is awesome because 180 was terrible. You'd go through cakes so much trying to keep those things alive that I just ended up letting them die. Dire Bear and Gigantopithecus have been added to Aberration, which is cool. That's more stuff in Aberration, and I actually am intrigued to see what they look like on Aberration. I have not seen that yet. I'll probably do that eventually. Remove the ability to place plant Y and bear traps while riding a dino. I don't even know. Titanosaur corrected Bigfoot's socket for desert headgear. Creature targeted jumps. Oh, so yes. For creatures with targeted jumps, like the crab and stuff like that, press jump again in midair, and you will fall straight down. Which is great, because, I mean, it says to remove that unintentional bounce. That happened to me several times. I mean, in one of the videos where I first went into the trench, like the red area in Aberration, I jumped, and the game locked up, and it shot me so far forward that I proceeded to, bounce off the edge and just go straight down into the crab. It was terrifying. Managed to make it out alive. Lost the crab shortly after. Anyways, the Giga is no longer raged by fall damage. That's another big one, right there. Like, what? That was the biggest way. That's the only way that I ever raged my Giga, was by accidentally having it fall. And then the rage mechanic is now based on damage taken before reduced from external sources. So that's going to be an interesting situation to deal with. Reduce the respawn rate of Basilisk and lower the nearby player check. Fix the case where the Rock Drake would not correctly uncloak, which is weird. I never noticed that. Increase the Phoenix's health, stamina, and weight, which is great because, I mean, I guess if you can get a Phoenix, but when I experimented with one just on single player, they were pretty low. Adjusted the center gorilla boss, so it matches the island. So I assume it's a little bit more to the same difficulty as the island. I guess it wasn't before, which, I mean, you're still fighting the gorilla and broodmother, so that's fun. But then, here's the biggest thing to me. The biggest thing to me right here is this creative mode building. If you want to add it on yourself, you just use GCM. That's all I did. It says cheat GCM, but all I did was GCM. All this is for Xbox, just in case I didn't say that at the beginning, but it shows at the beginning, I think. Host option to disable fog. That's cool. You turn the fog off. I hate the fog. Like, it was cool when we first got to the island again. And then it was like, oh god, that's right, I hated this so much to begin with. Add messages to tribe log with information about uploading and downloading creatures so you know who's doing what a little bit more. Made a respawning player not targeted by wild AI, which is great. So it means you don't instantly die. You probably have like 5 seconds, and then you'll die. Option to hide learned Ingrams. Players can now directly go from prone to crouch, which I don't know why that wasn't a thing before. That's cool. Ambient sounds have their own volume slider, which is great because the ambient sounds in this game can get a bit much in some places. Created a use last pin code so players can quickly access secured structures. Again, another thing that is amazing. I don't know how they haven't added before. Server option makes silencer mode. So basically, the silencer actually makes it so it's like a silencer. People don't see who killed them with if they have the silencer on. Cooldown added to tribes changing their name. Access mapping is not taken into. I don't know what that means. Server option makes supply crates random. Oh, that's cool. They were talking about doing that. I actually totally missed that one when I read this. 5-second character and base immunity added to ORP servers when they're first logging in. I assume that means offline raid prevention. Look at that. You can just highlight it and it tells me. So there's that, which is another. It's again, you just have a minute when you, well, not minute, you have 5 seconds when you sign in. Everything's still not going to get damaged. And then 5 seconds later, everything, if there's a gig in your base, is gone. But it fixed the collision issue affecting sub-dino gates, which allowed unintended entry. That's not cool. Fixed multiple client-side and server-side crashes. That is cool. Fixed, well, I mean, I guess it's cool that they fixed the gate, but it wasn't cool people get in. Fixed multiple exploits that allowed players to get through the mesh of the world barriers. Mesh or world barriers. Fixed a bug which allowed structures to be powered indefinitely. That's crazy. Fixed a bug which allowed players to gain a lot of height when using the zipline. Fixed a bug with grappling hooks, which allowed to be reeled in much quicker than intended. Made Tech Sniper not lose any element when zooming in, which is weird. So zooming in apparently makes you lose element on the sniper rifle. I don't know how down I am with that. Tech projectiles no longer damage structures with splash damage after the projectile has traveled for 5,000 units. So basically, once it goes so far, it just doesn't do anything anymore for splash. And then it no longer explodes in midair, which I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that because it's kind of cool. You could shoot up in the air and it's basically like a like an anti-air freaking weapon going on. All tech structures have an element cost. So this kind of bothers me because I kind of like the factor that some of those tech structures, like the slanted walls and stuff, they didn't have one. That was cool. You could just make as many as you wanted after you learned them. And I mean, you still had to have the walls in order to like build the full tech structure, but I don't know. It just added that nice little thing. Now you gotta have even shards, is what it's saying. Smoke nades and poison nades have different sound effects, so you can tell which one's which. Railings can no longer be built within the distance of enemy foundations. I don't know what that even means. I don't know how the heck you would do that to begin with. Demo timers are hidden behind the extended info option. I don't know, whatever. Can longer prevent turret targeting with cables. I assume that's supposed to be can no longer handcuff a player to a tech bed. Fix an issue with a tech teleporter. Built on pillars, ceilings would push players or creatures below it. That would suck. That would suck a lot. So there was force tame crash when riding a dino. Improved red crystal collision for your Anki, so you can hit it better. Which, I mean, I took my Anki down to that red crystal, and I didn't realize that it can die down there in the radiation, and it died. So that was sad. Corrected the aquatic mushroom description. Removed collision from glow sticks, which could cause movement problems from certain creatures. Crashes, zipline issues where you couldn't actually use them because they're outside of range, even though you should have been able to. Fixed a case which would allow players to mount it on certain creatures to throw C4 a lot farther. All right. Some of these things are weird. Like I don't know. Somehow I feel like I missed them intentionally because they just don't seem to be that big a deal. Fix the case of teleporting outside of a large base with the text per teleporter would show foliage that had been gathered. That's no bueno. That's a good thing they fixed. Fix multiple mash issues, holes, and collision. This right here again. I hope this is some of the things that I fell in, because there's a couple places that were like, you would just see so many wild dinosaurs just gathering up, because there's nowhere for them to go. They couldn't get out, and if you fell in there, it was like, oh great, this is where I live now. Fix a case where some foliage would not replicate appropriately on aberration. I'm not sure what that means. Turrets now respect enemy foundation placement rules. So there's 30-second spin back up time. What? Being powered by a battery? Okay, that's crazy. So the chat box. I said this in the other video I made. You can now access the chat box. You can scroll in it, and that is a awesome feature. Just hold the back button and go to the action wheel. It shows up at the top left. Yes, top left. And you just select it and you can go. Tribe ownership in hardcore. When one person dies, it goes to the next person. I don't know how that wasn't a thing before. Mini-map overhaul. So there's like this whole new look to the mini-map. I haven't looked at it exactly, but it will be interesting. You can actually put points of interest. You can color them. The me marker looks like it's more accurate, and there's an actual marker for tracks where like it shows where you're facing, it looks like. Tribe log, which is great for aberration. I didn't even think about, because I was always, am I north, south? Which way am I facing? No, sun makes it confused. Tribe log now displays the people who have been kicked, promoted, demoted, claimed, unclaimed, uploaded, and downloaded. That was kind of said before, but that's cool. Players who automatically expelled from tribes when they die in hardcore. I guess that's cool too, because that way you have more room to get more people. Large underwater rock features on the island can now be built on, which would have been great on 438, because there's so many things outside of my base there I would have loved to build on. Reduce cloning costs by approximately 40% of the board. I guess that's cool. I never used them before. Providing players with the option to flip their tribe log so they can either select or have the most recent messages on the top or bottom. Okay. I guess that's cool. Torches will work. Oh wait, that actually is cool, because that drives me nuts. Where you're always scrolling all the way down to the bottom trying to figure out what happened last. Torches will work similarly to flame arrows versus plant-wide traps. I don't know what that means. Extinguishes a sound effect for smoke grenades and poison grenades when hitting the ground. They already said that. Reduce tech tier vacuum crafting requirements, increased the damage resistance, and made it so that the metal hatch frames are snappable to them. That's cool. I'm sorry, I was like actually covered up by the screen itself. That was weird. Spyglass now functions correctly on tamed reapers. Well, I mean, did it not before? It kind of did. It just was a pain in the butt because it was always on my rock drake when I'm doing it. Spyglass and rock drake is a nightmare. Tribes can now see demo timers on their structures. Added an option. Oh, that's cool too. Because that's one of the things I've always wondered. How long do I have on my stuff? I've seen option checkbox for toggled extended HUD info. And updated Ragnarok with various fixes and tweaks. So, yeah, I mean, there's just so much. There's so much. It's crazy. Like, I mean, the differences on these things are even extreme. Like the Rex with the poop block, Dire Wolf with its whole little sniffing out ability, Dire Bear can grab all kinds of like honey and stuff. The swim speed, I didn't notice anything. I forgot to do that in the video. Hop in the water to see how good it was. It really wasn't that much of a difference. It still seems very slow in the water. Gigantopithecus can throw things, and the Procoptodon with the babies. I mean, the fact that you can put a baby in its pouch and it gets more affinity, I assume, which is imprint. But that's great. Yes, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helped you. Told you all the cool information, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.